Who Am I by Ramana Maharshi is collection of 28 questions that one of the disciples asked him about the self-inquiry, about who am I. And the Ramana Maharshi very systematically guide him through the process of the inquiry. So first of all, why do we need to read something like Who Am I and what is the relevance in our life, right? The book is all about, book is actually founded on the assumption that we don't really know what we are, and we are assuming something else as our identity, and because of that we are suffering a lot. We are feeling lost, we are feeling meaningless, we are trying to look for something to fill a void or some ignorance that is causing, because of we don't really know what we are, and we are looking for in our ignorant state we are looking for happiness, meaning, satisfaction, contentment in the things which cannot really provide these things. Yeah, so the fundamentally that book addresses this problem of deep dissatisfaction because of our ignorance of our identity. So book goes on about that, and this is not a book of understanding intellectually what am I not, and all these things. The book is a process of inquiry. So basically the way the Raman Maharshi is guiding in the book is that we have to sit down and see it for ourselves. The understanding itself will not be enough. So whatever the Raman Maharshi is saying has to be our own experience. Even if we clearly understand what we are, what we are not, this is not going to kill the ignorance, right? In order to destroy the ignorance, we have to see for ourselves what exactly we are. Yeah, otherwise it becomes another layer of beliefs. So the first question that the disciple asks is, who am I? And the Raman Maharshi says, and the Raman Maharshi is not just explaining, he is guiding again in terms of inquiry. Imagine like you are sitting down and you are asking yourself, who am I? And Raman Maharshi is saying, do it this way, right? Instead of figuring out what you are, start to negate what you are not. If you know for sure, like for example, I know for sure that I am not the camera, I can negate that. I can negate, like, okay, this is what I am not. I don't know what I am, but this for sure I am not, right? In the same way, Raman Maharshi is saying, negate these things, and he starts with, first of all, you are not the anatomical structure of the body. He says dhatus, you are not anatomical structure of the body, you are not the bone, muscles, blood, all these things, right? Now why, how do we know like we are not the bones, muscles and all these things? If you have some degree of peace in the mind, you can sit and you can see there's a very distinct sense of being, what we call I, or what I call my identity is very clear and distinct sense of our identity. And when we see in our body, when we look at the body, the anatomical structure of the body, it's almost like a subject object relationship. Just like the way I am seeing the camera right now, you can see your body, right? You can just very clearly see these are the bones. And even if your bones, even if you remove a part of the body, you will notice your sense of being does not change at all, right? It is almost like body is an instrument which we have connection with some way. Like we know when there is something wrong in the body gives the signal and we are aware of that signal. If body feels good, we are aware of that signal as well. But we are not the body is almost like an object, right? And if the object of some part of the object even get destroyed, it doesn't affect our sense of identity, our sense of being. Yeah. So Raman Maharshi says, first of all, inquire here. First of all, inquire with your body. Inquire the different parts of your body and see if you can find yourself there. Yeah. So that is the first layer. You are not the body. And again, we have to do this as an inquiry. Like a sense of being and the body is two completely different things. At some point, it is absurd to believe that I am the body, but I am the body. This is what my ignorance is right now, right? I say my leg is hurting. My leg is hurting, right? It's almost like I'm saying I am the body and I am hurting, right? So this ignorance, so this layer of ignorance that we think we are the body and our attachment to the body is where the Raman Maharshi says work first. Inquire here. Inquire and see the distinction between body and you. Yeah. Then he says, I am not the senses or the object of senses. Now, senses are tongue, eyes, smell, the faculty of smelling, and all these things. And let's take one, for example, tongue. So he's saying the tongue and the object of tongue, which is a food, let's say, I am none of these two, right? I can again experience the taste. I am aware of the taste, but tongue or the object of tongue, I am not. Again, it's very different than our sense of being and these phenomena. Very, very different, right? So he says, then go through your senses and see if you can find yourself somewhere in the senses, right? Again, with the direct inquiry into your senses, not like intellectually analyzing and all, you have to directly see whether I am somewhere in the senses. Then he says, I am also not cognitive senses, like the faculty of grasping or walking or sex or excretion, these kind of senses, like the working senses through which we act. So he says, for example, grasping. I am not this instrument of grasping, right? I am not the instrument of grasping. Again, it has same subject-object relationships, and some way we can influence these things. We can say, I can move my hand, I can move the hand, right? I can say that, but I cannot say that I am the hand, I am the faculty of grasping. Yeah, this is just an instrument and it is running in, and all these things basically, our body, our senses, and whatever else is left, they are running on its own rhythm, right? My body is growing by itself, right? My body, different senses, they are doing their job. It's not like I made them, or it's not like I have any control over their growth or the way they are evolving or whatever. I have some degree of control. That's where I can see, okay, there's some connection is there, but they themselves is not directly as a part of me, right? It's not like I am in control of them directly. Like I don't get to decide how my body will grow, or if I cannot say like don't get my hair white, right? It's a natural process. At the time the body will grow through different phases and it will go through different phases, and I just don't have control over that aspect, right? It's an independent organism that is doing its own thing. Yes, so I am not the body, I am not the senses. Then he says, I am not the energies in the body, pranas, he says, right? So these are different energies, the way you feel sometimes, the different energy has a different job according to the anatomy of that time. I don't think we have any, what do you say, direct attachment or direct infusion of identity into the energy. But let's say if somebody is meditating and he's feeling certain energy or whatever, so Raman Maharshi is saying you are not that also, right? These are again the objects which are doing their thing, maybe pleasant, maybe unpleasant, who knows, but you are not that, right? You cannot be that. You can influence it. We can still say that with our own experience, yes, I can influence these things, but I am not that, right? They are doing their own thing. I can influence the camera also, but I am not the camera, right? In that sense, right? So I am not the body, I am not the senses, I am not the energy patterns. So these are more like grosser things that he says, inquire about them. Then he says, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the mind basically, right? I'm not the mind, and I am not the mind which is thinking I am not the mind also. So he's saying any kind of thought is not me. Any thought, right? Good, bad, depression, elevation, whatever thought comes to me, I am aware of them. They are the object of me. They are the object I am aware of. They can produce different feelings, whatever, but I am not the thought. In fact, if you inquire, you will see, in fact, thought and body is completely different thing, right? Thought does not get influenced by the body, in the sense like if a part of body goes away, your thought is still complete and whole in its realm, right? These are two completely different things, right? The same way Raman Maharshi is also saying, I have nothing to do with thoughts in terms of my identity, right? They are changing, they are moving. I might be able to influence my thoughts also. I am influencing my thoughts also, right? I am influencing the thoughts also. I can still give you that. We can still see with our own inquiry. Yes, I can influence the thought. I can influence the body. I can move my body from here to there. I can put some kind of a positive thought on top of negative thought or whatever. I can play with all these things that we can still understand. But saying that I am the thought is absurd, right? I am not the thought. Thoughts are just another object that is present that I can be aware of, right? Then he says, I am also not the ignorance which is causing when there is no thoughts or no functioning of the body, right? So absence of thought is not something that I am also. So this is basically is the realm, the body, the senses, and the mind, where we are infusing our identity, where we are getting lost and saying, we don't say it directly, but it is implied in everything we do, right? This is what I am. I am the body, or I am the combination of thought and body. I am my personality. I have this, I am like that. We say that, right? I am an angry person. I am the very compassionate person. I like doing this. I don't like doing this. So we are like infusing our identity into these objects. It's almost as we are saying, I am this camera, I am that camera kind of thing, right? Which sounds very absurd if I start saying, I am the DSLR camera, right? And or something like that. That will be something you would say like I'm crazy or something. For Ramana Maharshi point of view, the way we are behaving, thinking like I have this kind of personality, or I am the body, I am dying, or all these things. From Ramana Maharshi point of view, like we are saying like absurd thing. You have nothing to do with all these things, right? So this is where Ramana Maharshi says, this is all there is, basically. The body, the thoughts of mind, and some energy in between them. Body, senses, thoughts, and mind, right? Thoughts. This is all there is. And Ramana Maharshi is saying, inquire very diligently where exactly you are in that, right? And negate them. And once you have negated them, because this is all our experience basically, right? Different body sensation, different thought patterns, different situation externally. In terms of self-inquiry, right? This is all we are experiencing in different flavors. That's all, right? So Ramana Maharshi is saying, don't get confused here. Deeply and diligently inquire these phenomena and see if you are one of them. And inquire them, don't understand them, inquire them and see if you can find yourself there. And once you have negated all these things, right, whatever is left is that I am, right? Once you can say with confidence, these are just objects and I'm not them, right? Whatever is left, that is what I am. Yeah. Now, the nature of whatever is left is what he calls Satchit Anand, eternal conscious bliss. So whatever is left after removing the thoughts, after removing the body awareness, is Sat, eternal. It is eternal. It is always there, right? Now, if you notice, when you remove these things, there is this sense of being, this sense of subject, this sense of knowing all these things, right? And he is saying, you will notice that sense of knowing and being never changes, never changes. It is always there. It is eternal. Thoughts and emotions constantly changes. Body constantly changes. External environment constantly changes. But whatever is this sense of being is, right, the sense of awareness, you can say, never changes. It is eternal. The second quality is it is conscious, right? You are conscious. You are the only thing in the universe which is conscious, which is aware of things, right? You are aware of thoughts. You are aware of the body sensation. You are aware of all these different phenomena. There's no thought cannot be aware of itself. Body cannot be aware of itself. It can generate some sensation. Thoughts can generate some emotions, but the who is aware of all this thing, right? So Ramana Maharshi is saying, first of all, these are the real quality of the self. You are eternal. You are always there, always. You always have this sense of being and knowing, and it never changes. And this, you have to see it with the inquiry. You remove all these things, whatever is left over is this sense of being, this sense of knowing, right? And this subject, this sense of knowing is always, it's the quality of the self. There's nothing else in the world which knows, right? Everything else is just kind of a dead material. It changes, it does its thing, and it changes to something else, it changes to something else. But only the subject, only you knows about these things, knows about these changes, right? Eternal, conscious, and bliss. And your nature is bliss. Your nature is content, satisfied. What are you looking for in the sense of Ramana Maharshi, right? In the sense of meaning, satisfaction, contentment, your basic nature is bliss. Your basic nature is perfection in the sense, right? What is happening is basically this is what is going on, right? There is whatever we are. Let's assume we really don't know what exactly we are, but if we can remove this layer of thought and if we can remove this layer of body, for example, what is left over is extremely fulfilled, complete in itself. It's extremely blissful. It knows things and it is being, right? So in that sense, what happens on top of it, we see there is a disturbance that thoughts and mind creates, right? Now because of that disturbance we feel uncomfortable, right? And because of that disturbance, now we want to find the meaning or satisfaction, contentment, whatever we want to find, so that we don't have to feel that disturbance. And the Ramana Maharshi is saying that disturbance itself is, in a way, it is the problem. You don't want to find the meaning to solve that disturbance. You want to get back to the self. You want to get back to your basic nature, which is by itself is contentment. And then you act and express yourself in any way that makes sense to you. But you won't be looking for happiness, or you won't be looking for see what problem it solves, right? The problem basically is in front of our consciousness, in front of whatever I am, my sense of being is in front of me is extremely turbulent amount of thoughts, extremely turbulent amount of, because the thoughts are turbulent, external world seems very turbulent and all that thing. And now I am feeling lost and confused, and I'm looking for some kind of stability, some kind of happiness, satisfaction, contentment, something, using some form of people, using some form of work. In some way I am trying to be, content or satisfied. What Ramana Maharshi is saying is this is the problem that he's solving. This is the problem this whole self-inquiry solves. This layer of thoughts and disturbance and trying to solve it is not going to work. But we can remove this layer of thoughts and emotion. We can detach from this layer of thoughts and emotions, and we can find the contentment and satisfaction into the self, right? Very beautiful. So this is what he's saying, right? Inquire these. Inquire your body, see if you are in the body, right? Inquire your senses, see if you are in the senses. Inquire your mind and thought, basically, to see if you are somewhere in the thoughts and mind. These things, you will not find yourself in these things or absence of even thoughts. Whatever is left, once you have done the inquiry carefully, whatever is left, you will find yourself there. And whatever is left is eternal, it's conscious, it is the only thing that is conscious, and its nature is bliss.